This is going to be part number 6 of a pomegranate, and at the end of this part it's going to look like this. And before going to start this video, I want to recommend that it's not going to be much easy to follow directly the video from start to finish. So what you would like to do is to see how I made a stitch, and then I go back to where I started the stitch to see me how to make that stitch. So let's start. So what I'm planning to do first is I'm going to make a stitch and reduce the length of a stitch by 2, and we're going to remove this string, these 2 strings, and also these 2. So on the over here we're going to take this one and this one, so these 2 that are the middle of the seeds, so this guy, and the 2 strings that are the same place but over the back. So I think this guy, this one, and let's see, this guy. Okay, so let's make the stitch. Okay, so here comes a part that I need to concentrate. So I'm gonna take this guy, and then I'm not going to leave this guy because we want to remove this one. So I'm going to skip this and go to the one after it. And now, yeah, so this also going to skip. So I'll leave this one and continue. And also again I'm going to skip these 2, so let's go directly to this one. Okay, we finished the side on the back, and I'm going to continue making the side of seeds. Okay, do I saw another guy from here. And now for pinks, so I'll take my main pink, this guy, and the other one at the other side, so this guy. And so how I'm going to do it, let's for example come from here, so I can see that you're going to go over this pink and under this white, and then I'm going to go over this red and under this red. So I'm going to go first, I'm going to take this pink and going over this red, under this red, and then I'm going to weave the pink and this white afterwards. So it'll make me you know what, maybe I won't confuse you, so we're going to remove this string, this guy, and also this guy, and so you won't be confused about the pink strings. So this guy and the other one that we want to ignore, so this one and this one. And of course these guys are not, we're not going to use them, so let's move them aside. And now I'm going to take the pink, this pink, and this pink, and going to weave all the pinks and whites, and then I'm going to weave reds, the maroons, because it will be easier for you. So again, I think I made clear that I made 5 stitches or 6 stitches. How many I made already? I made 6 stitches that are the same, so you can find it in part number 5 how I made this stitch. The same idea, the same stitch, so you don't need to see this part. But I'm going to take now only the whites and pinks, because for various reasons. One of the reasons is just to make it easy on you and not okay. And I'm going to take the reds. So again, this red I'm not going to use, the middle red, this one, and one on the other side. So let's take this red and this red. So this red I've already weaved half, so I'll show you after this. So okay, this red we've done already, and this red, so coming over here. Okay, now what? We haven't weaved this one, so I'll just make one. Okay, now we've done this, and we'll now take the this guy is going to be over here, and this guy and this one. So one over here, and one over here. And that's it for now. Okay, so the only strings that we haven't woven yet is this guy, this guy. So you can see that it's the middle in between this white and this white. So we have a whites, and in between the whites you have reds, the maroons. So the middle of the maroons, the two strings that are middle. And the same thing goes over here. So in between the middle of this white and this white. So not these, but these two. And what we'll do now is we're going to remove him. So how we're going to remove him? I'm going to stick it inside the stitch, in between this layer and this layer. So you have 4 strings with going horizontal, and you want to put it in between. So in between this red and this pink, like that. This is the technique that I usually use when I want to remove strings on stitches. So we do this guy, and the same thing goes over the right string. So we go like that, and that's it for this side. So remember, this is how we're going to remove strings, putting them in between the middle strings, in between the red and the pink. And also remember that in between also the maroon, this maroon and this maroon. And the same goes here. So I have the 2 strings over here, and we're going to put it on this space here. One over here, and a second on the same spot over here. And that's it. Now I'm going to pull all the strings, and now I'm going to have a stitch. So remember, 2 strings went over here in between this maroon and this maroon, and 2 strings, the 2 strings here went over this maroon and this maroon. And it's now tie everything. So take time. Okay, that's it, I think. So you see that 2 strings over here and 2 strings over here, and the rest is the same as we done previously. On part number 5, last stitch, on part number 5, the same thing, except of these 4 strings, these guys, and these guys. And now I'm going to make the same stitch, another 2 stitches like these. So let's make it. I'm going to start first with pinks, because I realized that before I had some difficulties. So I'm going to start with pinks. So again, I'm planning on making first only the pinks and whites, and then the words I'll leave it afterwards. Okay, that's for now. And let's move on for the reds. Stitch, the back one. So let's take this side. I'm planning on ignoring this one because this one is going to go from red to the pink, so I'll wave it afterwards. And also the one that I'm going to do next, so not that one. This guy this string is also needs to be go towards the pinks and whites. I'll make some again, I see that this guy, this pink, this maroon is going to go, he came through here, so I'm planning on weaving him afterwards. Okay, so got that. Okay, and now I'll take this. That's good enough, and well, I see that string is fine. I think okay, let's take the last four strings. The last four strings I'll need to be a little bit careful about them. They're not going to be easy. So okay, the last four strings are these. The last four strings are the strings that are going to weave on both the sides, the maroons and also the pinks. So I've got my first one. And I'm planning going over under. This is the first one. The second one, the same thing with the other side. Same goes here. So over under, over under, and last one. Also remember to keep the string that's coming out on where we're supposed to be. So in my case is in between the two words. So here is where we should be, in between this word and this word, and this pink and this red. Same goes here, between this red, this pink, and this red. And now I'm going to weave. Oh, I forgot to take this guy. I forgot to weave these. Okay, now let's just stretch, pull strings. Okay, and that's it for this stitch. So let's I'm going to show you a little bit how it's going to look like. So over here it's fine, and it's pretty usual, and over here you get this. And let's see over here. Okay. Okay, what I'll do now is I'm going to cut the 4 strings, these 4, so these 2 and these 2. And before doing that, I'm going to pull them one last time, just to make sure that they are pulling tightly. So here is one, it's fine. Let's check over here, it's also fine. I don't see any loops, any weekend loops. So just pulling also over here. Okay, now they are quite strong, and I'm going to cut them, and right after that I'll take a strong super glue and put some glue on them, just to make sure that they'll never separate. So put glue, one here and over here also. Remember that you never do never touch super glue after you glue them. So wait a few minutes until it will dry, and then continue making the stitches. So a little bit here, this is good enough, and over here okay. Now wait a few minutes until they will dry. And don't worry, in this method I never had any problems with that. If you glue and before you glue you pull the strings tightly, you'll never have a problem that it will go off or something like that. Only if you really want to go and pull it really tightly. So if I took my this one and pull the loop apart, and so it will probably going to go off, but it will separate. But if you just have it on your house and you not really play with it, like you never, for example, take this string and going to try to rip it off, it will stay and you won't have any problem with that. Don't worry, I did it also on mine and on all my my things from 2008, so, and I never had any problem with that. Okay, so I'll just now leave it until it will dry, and we'll continue making another stitch after that. Okay, fine. You can see that it's much easier to see what we're going to do next. So next we're going to make another stitch, the same as before. So now we won't have that 4 strings that will not bother you anymore. Okay, now I finished, and now I'm going to pull all the strings, and oh, I forgot one. Okay, I'll show you now what I've done. So, starting from here. I'll make another one, and then I'm going to remove another 2 strings. So let's do it. So what I've done is I first make the frames of the word strings. So I still haven't weaved it. I first made the frame of maroons. So you can see this guy is the side of the left, side of the right, and the side of the up, the back of a stitch. And now I'm going to do the pinks and whites. So I found that this is the easiest way to make it, and I'll show you. So let's now do the tummy. Let's make the pink strings right now. So I took my two pinks, and now I'll leave all the strings. So I'll take now the white, then comes the maroon, so this one and this one. So first I'll take this guy, so I'll take it and over under, remember, oops, no, it's fine, yeah. So I see from the back, so he comes from here to here, so it's good. Next is whites, two whites. I'll take also this red just to make it go over this side, the left side, so it won't bother us. Then now I'm going to take the two maroons, so this maroon and this maroon. And last strings, pink and one pink and one white. So that's it for us. Was it a little bit long? Okay, let's just show you now what I've got. So from right to left. And now on the back. Okay, what now to do? You're going to remove another 4 strings. So as you remember, we removed 4 strings once at the beginning of this video, and now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to remove another 4 maroon strings, and there'll be these 4 strings. So you can see the strings that are in between the white strings, the maroons that in between the white strings. So you can see this is the 2 maroons that are in between this white and this white, and also these 2 maroons that are in between this white and this white. So how to do it? The same idea, exactly the same idea. So if you followed me before, you probably can manage by your own now, but I'll do it anyway for you guys that haven't managed yet, so you can see what I've done and try to make it afterwards. So let's make it. So what I'll do first is I'm going to make a stitch, but without the 4 strings that I'm going to remove. So make a stitch without weaving these 4 strings. Okay, I hope you've got it. You've got that. So let's do it. So again, what we've done is we took the frames, the red frames, so the maroon borders. So came 2 strings that are from here, the 2 strings that are from here, and 2 strings that are from the right, and another one that bothered me because this guy is going to want to go on the right side, so we want to put it at the left. Just anyway, we're going to put this guy on the left, so I done it right now, just not to just the red this maroon won't make it's for not like if it's come on the right side, so it will mix up with the pink and the white, so I don't want to do that. It will bother us in sort of a way, so I just keep it on the left so we can weave the white and the pink strings more easily. I know my English sucks, but I'm sorry for that. It's not my if I were living in a English-speaking country, it will be a different story. But I'm not living in an English country, so I do apologize of that. And also, my skills of speaking is not that good. I'm more a guy of not so good at speaking English. Yeah. So I'm sorry for that. So what I've done is I weave in the pink and white, these guys, and now I'm going to take, I forgot, I'm not going to take these, because we're not going to weave them inside the stitch. We're going to keep them, and we're going to, after making the stitch, we're going to take these guys and put it inside the stitch. So I'm going to ignore this for now, these two strings. So I'm going to go to weave directly from these guys, these two whites. And again, these maroons I'm not going to weave. I'm going to keep them at the end. So I'm going to weave only our last pink-white strings, and then we'll continue with maroon strings. Now I'm going to weave maroons, so, oh, sorry. Okay, that's it, and let's just finish weaving with our last maroons. So I need to finish another 5 strings. So let's do it. Oops, forgot, not this guy. This guy is... I'm not going to weave it. Forgot. A string. And now I'm going to I'm going to take our 4 strings that we want to remove and put it in the center of a stitch, so on the center of their position. So I'll take this guy. So where we're going to put it is in between here. So remember that. So in between this space over here, this gap. So 1 is here, and also the same thing goes with this string. And now I'm going to do the same thing with other 2 strings. So I'm going to put it through here, and this one goes through here, the same space, but from the right to the left. And now going to pull the strings, and you'll see after that what I've done. It's going to be a little bit harder than the other one, because it's not going to sit quite well, but I'll try my best. Just pull the strings one by one. This is the main idea, but sometimes you need to pull it harder than others. So let's take, for example, this part. And pull those. Let's now try to pull the pink strings and white strings. Okay, so this is the general thing that I'll have here. I can't do any better than that. Let's just check that what I've done is right. I think it's quite good, and it's not 100% nice, but okay, so I have an idea. What I'll do now, so this is the, oh, 1 second. Okay, as you can see that I removed the strings inside the center, and as you can see it's not going to fit quite well and it's not going to be quite nice. So what I'll do is I'm going to remove, I'm going to take, so I have once before, so 1 second. I have our two strings that went for the center, and what I'll do is I'll keep the two strings. So this string and this string will be going to the right side. So what it means is I'm going to keep this string through here, so under these two pinks, and then I'm going to go towards there to the right side. But first I'll take the two strings that we moved from this side, so this string I'll remove it to the right side, and also the other one, so this guy also. And what now is I'm going to put the 4 strings on this side. So I'm going to keep this string under these 2 pinks, but then I'm going to go over and under, like we all know, on the 2 maroon strings here. So over under. So it'll be a little bit better than before. And also this guy, also same thing, over under. So I did this, and then I'll do the same thing over here. I'll keep this string under, you can see, under these 2 pinks. So this string is under these 2 pinks strings, and then I'll go over under with the maroons, the side of the maroons, and this too. And now I'm going to pull the strings. So after that I hope it will get better. And now you see that the pink strings will work fine, but you can see that it's not going to be quite good, quite nice, because you'll see that string here. It's a little bit we have only a few stitches here, a few strings here, and a big, wide length, you can say. So it's not going to look nice. So what I'll do is I'm going to add another white string in between these gaps. So in between this gap and this gap, I'll add a new string just to make it more denser, how to call it. So give me a second to cut a string. I've got another 2 new strings right now. These 2 new strings are white as these 4 colors, these 4 whites, and the length is 1 meter. I think it's in 3 foot, and I'll add them to this side of a stitch. So I'll take first my first string. Where I should add it, I'm going to add it in between this white and this white, and I'm going to put it through here. So through from here to here. So also under this red string, under this maroon string. And that, so why it's diagonal from here to here, because I want to weave this side of right string from right to left, and this side of a string is going to be from left to right. So that's why I put it in this diagonal and not the opposite side. So I want to take this side of a string and I want to have from left to right and be next to this string that comes from right to left. So that's why I want to put this in this diagonal, because I'll be able to put this string, go from left to right, like what I'm doing right now, and it will be next to the string that goes, this string that goes from right to left. So like that, and the same same thing with this one. So I want to go now from right to left and be next to this string that comes from left to right. And do remember that you need to put it under this red string. So here this is what it's going to look like. And I'll do the same thing with my second string, but over here. So here is my second string, and I'll put it the same idea at this diagonal from left to right, and put it in between this white and this white, and under this maroon string. And do remember again in this diagonal in my stitch, because in my stitch I had a string from right to left, over here and a string from left to right over here. So I want to have this side of a string next to this string, because this side of a string is going to be from right to left, and the same idea with this guy. This guy is going to be from left to right, so I want it to be next to a string that goes from right to left, this string. And now I'm going to leave the same thing. And that's it for this stitch. So let's now pull white strings here and also the pinks. Don't worry, at first it's going to look like not so nice, but afterwards it's going to look better than this after a few more stitches. Okay, so this is the final stitch that you'll get for weaving a single stitch. So what I mean is we had from up to now on part 6 and also in part 5, I think we had 2 different stitches. We had this stitch, no, have only one stitch. We weaved only one stitch at a time. So all these whites and reds maroons were combined into a single stitch. And now, from now on, it's not going to happen. We'll have 2 stitches. We have the white and pinks in a single stitch, and we'll have the maroons and another different stitch. Though we're not going to be in one single stitch, all these strings. So I'll repeat again. Until now, from part 5 and part 6, we had one single stitch for all the strings. So the maroons and the reds, the maroons and the whites and the pinks were combined into a single stitch. And from now on, it's not going to be the case. We will have 2 stitches. One stitch is going to be the pinks and the whites, and one stitch is going to be the maroons. And that's it. So I'll make another 2 stitches now for the whites and the pinks, and I'll finish this video, this part. So I'm just going to show you a little bit how it's going to look like after weaving this stitch. So here's the maroons. Oh, you see that I have a no, it's fine actually. No. So you can see the string is not weaved, it's just on top. So again, I'll show you one last time. And I'm going to show you the pinks and whites, so it's pretty obvious. Okay, I think that's it. Now I'll make another 2 stitches for the pinks and whites, and we will finish this tutorial, this part of the tutorial, part 6. And here's pink. I'll do it fast. And pulling the strings. In another minute I'll make my final stitch for this part. See, now it's going to look like a stitch that you know. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 5 by 1 stitch, 5 by 1 square stitch. I'll make one last stitch. That's it for this part. Let's pull a strings knot now, and that's it for this tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to show you how it's going to look like at the end. So here is a part of whites and pinks. So let's check that. And here's for the maroons. So the maroons. And I'll show now a different point of view. So let's show you from here. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Next time, I hope another 2 parts. I hope I'm going to finish it. We're going to finish this pomegranate, and next we'll talk about more tutorials for more stuff I made. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.